know your classrooms best, and it sort of makes sense to give you the opportunity to connect with each other about what kinds of topics might make sense to pursue. And in total, it should really, I mean, we can take as long as you all want, but it typically only takes about 20 minutes, and then you're on your way. Okay. So in terms of intros, I was thinking we could just like quick introduce, and then if you either have previous experience with parallel lessons, or if not, if you have any sort of expectations for what this might be like, if you want to share quickly, that would be great. So my name is Monica Pfister. I am a policy analyst who works with NISL, with National Institute for School Leadership. My first experience with parallel lessons was I saw one in person between Hong Kong and mainland China. And that was like simultaneous via Skype because there was no time difference. But since then, we've been back here facilitating between Pennsylvania and Hong Kong. And I'm really excited for the next round.
I guess I'll go next. I'm also with NISL.
Grace, I think we lost your sound.
Let's see. Hello?
Oh, no, you're good. You're good now.
Okay. Yeah, so I work on the more of the technology side, but I used to be an educator that then kind of dabbled into the technology. I was a technology coordinator at a school. And my first experience with parallel lessons was actually the round one, what we called. But really, the experience kind of goes back to when I was a classroom teacher and someone videotaped me and then observed, and then I was able to reflect on my own video. Now, internationally, that I don't think anyone's doing right now. This is exciting.
I'll go. I'm Nikki Perini. I have no experience with parallel lessons. This will be the first time. I'm excited and a little nervous at the same time about how it's going to go. Just knowing the student dynamics in my class and things like that. I'm curious how they're going to react to the whole situation, but I'm excited to see how the experience ends up.
Yeah, me too. And I didn't have any experience on parallel lesson as well. Also, this is the first time that I joined this event. All right, and what I'm planning to teach will be grade 9 kids. Okay, there will be 36 students in my class. Wow. Okay, which is a pretty large class. Okay, I'm not sure the class size for the USA.
We're about 26.
26. This will be a medium class size. All right. I see. And do you have any preference on the topics that you are interested in, Nikki?
I don't know if like probability or compound probability would be a possibility. We're kind of headed in that direction.
For probability, we have gone through that chapter in previous months already. So we have a few chapters left for the remaining time in this semester, which is more about 3D figures.
Right.
Can you see it clearly? I'm not sure the quality of my webcam.
Yeah, I can see that.
So just to sort of frame in case it's helpful, for parallel lessons, just in case this background information is helpful for choosing a topic, it often is helpful to choose something that is not necessarily what's coming next in the curriculum, so something that's a little bit outside the curriculum, because it allows for sort of a one-off lesson that you can sort of tailor to the experience, and it allows you more flexibility. So we've seen some success in the past when teachers choose topics that are things that would make sense to teach in their class, but that aren't necessarily in the upcoming curriculum. And it also, we often like talk a little bit about what the intended outcomes will be, just so we're sort of on the same page, but the teachers sort of teach it however they want. So once we choose a topic, you guys would be free to go very much in your own directions. It's actually better that way because we see more contrast that way. So if it's helpful in terms of finding overlap. So just for some background, Michael, Nikki has an undergraduate, like a college education student who is in her classroom when she's teaching sort of more the algebra topics rather than the geometry topics. And we were hoping in this round of parallel lessons to be able to involve, I think on the Hong Kong side, for later rounds, we'll be involving some newer teachers rather than students, but in Pennsylvania, we're trying to involve some either student teachers or in Nikki's case, just a student who is pursuing education. So if possible, it would be great if we could find a topic that would fit into that more algebra time.
Looks like you're down, cause maybe from your headset.
Oh.
When you touch that, is there any, try unplugging and seeing if the,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, sorry. So just as background, if that helps. So sort of with that said, I don't know if Nikki, if you had any thoughts about what might fit in that more algebra space.
I mean, I don't, with 3D, I mean, I'm trying to think 3D figures. The problem is we haven't had in this class, there's been no geometry whatsoever. So they don't even know basic 2D shapes at this point, which would, I feel like that would be a pretty big leap to try and do like a 3D shape with them. So, I mean, what else is remaining after? You said you had 3 units. What's the other 2 that are after this one?
Let me think. That would be area and volume and the application of trigonometry only. So most of them are geometry topic, not algebra.
Okay.
But if you are interested in algebra, then we can still plan an algebra topic, because for my class, the teaching schedule is not that packed. I can free up a few lessons for extra algebra lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing that kind of comes into play here is the class that I'll be teaching. It is the most remedial math class that we offer. So the topic kind of has to be, I don't know, how to, like somewhat basic, or if it's something brand new, it's going to be very much an intro lesson starting at the ground floor. So I'm trying to think. We are, by March 27th, we'll have kind of wrapped up inequalities. And I know like probability and expected value is what's coming up next. And then we are reviewing for our keystone exams after that. So I could kind of do anything at that point. I mean, March 27th would kind of be, whatever would work best for you, I can make it fit at that.
Okay. I can still teach probability and expected value, but since they have already gone through those knowledge before, so the content has to be more advanced.
Right.
Okay. What's the ability of your students in your school?
For this class, this is the most struggling math students in our building. So, yeah, I think we're kind of at different ends of the spectrum there with the level of the students.
And it's okay if,
which is fine,
yeah, that's okay. Like we've had before, one teacher does sort of an intro lesson and the other teacher happens to have done more background on that before and goes a little bit more in depth, and that's totally fine.
Okay.
I was going to add in that it's not so much about where they are in terms of, I mean, you have a struggling classroom and you may have a more advanced or they've already received it. The idea would be that they haven't seen the topic in recent times, and more ideally that they hadn't seen the topic at all, but that doesn't seem to be.
I mean, I could do like a 2D shape area perimeter lesson with them. I think we could handle that because, I mean, we've done our equations and, expressions and problems and things of that nature, that I could do like a 2D shape lesson, whereas yours might be 3D. I would be fine with that as well.
Can I ask a question to you, Nikki? Are you able to pull kids out into groups when you do the lessons? Are certain kids in your class more advanced in the struggling area? Are they able to receive?
So we actually, it's kind of the other way. We do have a small group. I have a co-teacher in there, a special education, also math certified teacher, and she pulls out 6 students each day, but they're doing a pre-algebra curriculum versus an algebra curriculum in there. So it's kind of the opposite pull out situation.
And I guess I didn't mean pull out necessarily like out of the room, but like, I mean, the context of the lesson, but just like the division into certain groupings. Because then you could see a variety of ways you can instruct I mean, I know it's ninth grade, so that it may be that it's the whole classroom receives the same instruction, which is all right. Just curious.
We can definitely try. I mean, it's something done a little bit here and there. It just with my co-teacher actually physically leaving the room, and then I'm left with the remaining 20 students. We tend to kind of have to do the same thing, otherwise we spiral out of control. So
nothing outside of your comfort or the way you already are instructing the class. So it was just a question.
So. I mean, I'm up. I mean, when I taught at our middle school, we did things like that a lot. So I'm open for it. It would be something we haven't done much to date with these students, but I'm willing to give it a shot for sure.
I guess I'd turn over to Michael in terms of where you see as being.
So, how about this one? Do you think it is an interesting topic for them to draw the 2D representations? So we give them some solid like this, and then they have to draw all the representations in different views, from the side view, top view, and the front view. Do you think this is an interesting topic for them, for your kids?
I mean, I think that's definitely something they could explore. I mean, that's you can make that very hands-on and.
Yeah. It can be very hands-on and on the other way around, maybe we give them these figures, and then we give them some cubes. They have to form the cubes back. And that means two-way process. That would be an interesting topic, I think.
No, I mean, that topic, we could definitely make happen for sure.
Yeah. So maybe we stick to this topic, that 2D representations of solids.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And is that something, Nikki, that you think would fit into the class when Kaylee is typically there?
I can make I mean, they'll, I think, enjoy that change, because that's something, even though it doesn't necessarily fit into what we're doing, it's, a relevant topic that they can see for that day. They're not going to mind that at all.
Okay. Great. So the only other thing that I wanted to touch on was just a quick sort of what your intended outcome of that lesson might be. And it's like very okay if they're very different, but just to kind of get a sense of what sort of, just in a general sense, like vague, conceptual, what kinds of things would you want students to come out of that lesson with?
Well, maybe we expect students, at least they can draw the answers like this. Okay, we expect them to draw it correctly like this, and they will be able to form the cubes. Okay, given these three diagrams for them, then they will be able to form the real cubes. That will be our expected outcome.
Yeah.
And I think that would be reasonable for the level of difficulty. They should be able to handle that.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I could see my kids walking away with being able to look at the diagram and build something that models that. I don't think that will be. I think that's a reasonable outcome for that lesson. Absolutely.
Okay, then. For the materials, actually, I can prepare some PowerPoints for as a handout for Nikki, and I also have some cubes, but I don't know whether you have these kind of cubes.
I'm pretty sure I do. I think in one of my closets, I'm pretty sure I have a bucket of them. So
in terms of the planning, it actually sometimes works better to just do it completely separately. I think it will allow. So we talk about the topic ahead of time just so that the lessons are somewhat comparable. But once we decide the topic, the teachers typically sort of go their separate directions and plan what they think will work best in their own classroom. And actually, the more different they are, the better, because that allows us to see some of those contrasts a bit more. It makes it sort of more of a learning experience. I know that's very different from sort of like the natural. I am also a former teacher, and the natural inclination is to co-plan and to collaborate. But so this is kind of a weird situation in that once we choose the topic, we'll obviously still be in touch, and we'll continue to talk with each other up until the actual date, but the planning will largely probably happen separately.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So that it's the creativity that you are as teachers that's going to be a value. So each of you are going to bring something naturally to this, where when you do view each other's videos and then we debrief, you're going to see differences, and they're going to be things that you can both benefit from. So that's just what I expect, that you guys will enjoy that. So be your own amazing teacher that you both are. And
Were there any other questions or anything else that you all wanted to discuss with each other before, just while we're all here?
So, what will be the approximate time for the lesson?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question. Guess that's put it back to you. How much time is your instruction usually for your class?
For my class, for one lesson, there will be 40 minutes long, and yeah, it depends on whether I arrange a single lesson or double lesson. So I think for this topic, I can arrange a single lesson to handle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's been pretty typical for the length of the Hong Kong lessons that we've seen in the past. I sort of would encourage you to do whatever you would normally do with your own classroom, and it's okay if your lessons don't have to be the same length.
Okay.
Right.
Just out of curiosity, Nikki, how long is your
we have
class period?
82-minute block scheduling, so yeah, I'd have to kind of fill up double the time. I mean, I won't have an issue with that with this new topic, but
and you also don't have to if you don't want to. We've visited teachers who have block scheduling, and they've said, I'm doing this for the first 40 minutes, and I'm doing something else afterward, and that's fine. It's really up to you. We want to give you the flexibility we don't want you to feel like you have to either compress something into a very small period of time or draw it out, depending. You know what would work best. So you all can kind of just let us know what the time is going to be, and we'll work with you.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll be visiting Nikki's classroom as supporting her with the technology and video, and then Michael, you will have people at your classroom as well. So
Sure. I have some colleagues to help me with the technical issue.
That's great.
So first about the direction that we have agreed, and so I think I will conduct this lesson maybe next week or the latest late March.
Yeah, that's when we are. Was it March 27th?
I think March 27th is the date.
March 27th is the date. You don't have to be on the same day as us. So don't feel any pressure, but that sounds great.
But they will be done within these 2 weeks, and then I will share our videos again afterwards, right?
Yeah, and we share them through a tool that you guys can be able to see, and then do you can annotations. I don't know if you'll need to, but you'll be able to view each other's videos.
Okay. And Nikki, I can still share my teaching materials for you as reference. Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't mind looking at. It'll give me a better idea of the expectation and the expected outcome. I already have some ideas about where I want to go with it, but that's fine.
I can just share with you if you like it.
Okay.
So what we typically do is we actually we teach the lesson, and then afterwards the teachers share the materials with each other if they're comfortable, just so that, because sometimes we've seen teachers then go and use their colleagues' materials and teach that lesson later, just sort of for the purpose of sharing. But so just so you know, there will be an opportunity to share them afterward.
Okay.
And that will sort of allow you to be as different as possible up front, and then sort of afterward have access to each other's resources.
Yeah, I'd recommend not sharing them for now.
Okay.
You guys completely. This topic is the same. You both have it, but you can see the differences, and then afterwards. But that's really nice of you to suggest that.
Okay, then we share it afterwards.
And I know that feels very, very weird and different, and not like we would typically ever lesson plan. It's a very unique situation, but it does pay off, because it allows you to. Sometimes we don't realize how different it makes it easier to sort of be flexible and creative and go your own way.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or anything you wanted to touch on before we sign off?
Oh,
No?
yeah, good.
Okay, well, it was great to meet you both. Nikki, I'm really excited to visit your classroom. Michael, I'm really excited to see your classroom on video. And
I'm excited too.
you can always feel free, like in the meantime, to email or reach out with any questions. But otherwise, really excited. Sounds like it's going to be
Yeah.
a really interesting topic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very flexible topic. I like it.
It is, yeah. It's a good. We saw something somewhat similar during the last parallel lesson, and it worked really well because it was so hands-on. So
Right.
people went really different ways with it.
Okay. Right. Well, it's great meeting you all.
Yeah.
Great meeting you too. Thanks so much
Thank you.
for taking the time.
Yep. Take care.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, have a nice day, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.